And we are live with another episode of the Keeg Talks. It is season 11. Technically, really weird, but season 11 of the Keeg Talks, episode 1, because we're kicking off this new year. It's January 5th, 2025. We're here to talk about everything coming out in 2025. Are we going to actually hit literally everything coming out in 2025? I mean, we can hope, we can dream, but chances are we're going to miss some things. But if anyone's out there watching us live, you're watching us on twitch.tv/The Keeg Show or youtube.com/The Keeg Show. Let us know you're out there. Let us know what you're looking forward to in this coming year. That's if you're watching us live. If you're listening to the podcast, it's not really, a easy way to communicate with us, but find us on social media and whatnot. But maybe you're listening to the podcast wherever you get your podcast from, and that's okay too, however you digest us. I'm your host, Dimithri Perera, and you may or may not be able to see who our guests are, who are here to talk about everything that we're looking forward to in this year. These guests are amazing guests and have been on the show before. Maybe not in a little while, because last year we didn't do as many episodes for the Keeg. But this year may be different. Who knows? We got Aaron Gaines, a.k.a. Aaron Gaines, a.k.a. Aaron K. Gaines. How's it going, Aaron?
Gotta switch it up.
Yeah.
Pretty good. How are you?
Doing good. Where your Aaron K. Gaines on Instagram, was there already an Aaron Gaines?
Yes, I was upset about it. I managed to hit it on TikTok because it was more so in the early days of TikTok. So I was like, I got to get in here and I got to claim myself.
Yeah.
But it's been tossed up because I also, on a separate account that I don't use on TikTok, I claimed Aaron K. Gaines. So I'm debating on if I need to transition just to keep everything consistent across the board, but we'll see.
Okay. Was it taken by some like bodybuilder named Aaron?
I wish.
Aaron Gaines. It's all
I
about the
wish.
Gaines, man.
Unfortunately, it's taken by somebody who has not been active since like 2012.
Oh, I
So
hate that.
I know, and I'm like, I want to like message him and like maybe like pay him for it. I don't know. Like, I don't want to be
You
like,
could,
hey, I want to claim my name. That's also your name, but I want it.
they probably wouldn't even respond if they haven't been active since 2012. They
Also
probably
that.
don't even
So
check it.
Yeah. I remember when okay, so like the Keeg started off 2015 and we were just like in my friend's apartment and we like filmed a couple YouTube things, right? And back then I was looking for social media, like a handle that I could use, and I just wanted the Keeg. It was just supposed to be like almost like a periodical, like the Keeg. Which, if you don't know, it's geek backwards. Some people have been on the show for years and haven't realized that. So I couldn't find the Keeg because there's always some guy named Keegan out there who's always like, I'm the Keeg. And so, find us on social media at the Keeg Show, wherever social media is found. Anyway, thanks for coming back on the show, Aaron.
yeah, for sure. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. We also got Cailin, aka Comics by Cailin. What's up, Cailin?
Not a whole lot right now. It's the start of the year though, so
Yeah.
we're gonna get into the groove.
Yeah. I'm really looking forward to 2025 as far as media consumption is concerned. I want to make that specification.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm excited for I'm just excited for this year all around. I feel like it's gonna be a good year. We've got a lot of cool stuff coming out. I've
Mhm.
got some big stuff coming up life-wise, it's gonna be a
that's
good year.
nice. Okay. All right. Are you guys, I brought you guys on because like you guys are big fans of a lot of stuff. Both of you are cosplayers, and sure, we can assume that, you're looking forward to all the new movies and TV that are going to inspire cosplay ideas. But like, are you guys bigger movie fans or TV fans or video games, or where do you guys lie?
It's a little just across the board, just like little things here and there. I am horrible about um staying completely up to date to movies. Like the things that are like mainstream, I'm usually pretty on board with. But it's those like few and far betweens that are the rough ones. But it's kind of a resolution this year to, because there's so much coming out, to kind of just be more on the front line of it all, as opposed to kind of being 6 months late to the game and then it's 2026 and then
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, Cailin, what about you?
I I'm not a video game person. I never really have been.
Okay.
Um, in the past, I've been pretty evenly movies and TV. I'll be honest, movies and TV got moved down to the bottom of the list this past year. I got so into reading, which is why I wasn't on the podcast this past year because you don't talk about books.
Yeah, I'm sorry. We talk
And
about
I
comic
read,
books.
we do talk about, I did read one comic book last year as part of my 130 books that I read.
Would you read?
I a lot of romantasy, just romance in general.
Okay.
I went through a lot of like the big book talk books that are going on right now.
Uh-huh.
I'm rereading Fourth Wing right now because the new book comes out at the end of the month, or in like 2 weeks. So I'm like trying to reread the two previous books,
Okay.
in prep for that. So yeah, um, so yeah, and I'm planning a lot of cosplays this year based on the books that I've been reading.
Okay. I mean, you're right that we're not really talking much about books, but though I am interested if you have a list of books you're looking forward to, maybe we could cap this episode with a list of
I do
must
have.
reads for 2025.
I do have some books that I'm highly excited for that I've already like pre-ordered.
Okay. All right. Um,
So I would happily talk about that later.
I was at Target the other day and I saw that one that pops up a lot. It's the ice skater and the hockey player cover.
Oh my God, I love that book, Icebreaker.
Yeah, but I flipped the pages and I knew that there were things in there and I didn't know there were a lot of things in there that I
Here's the
shouldn't be
thing.
reading in Target.
Here's the thing with that book. I didn't read that book for a while because like I kept seeing it on Book Talk and people like I read spicy books,
Mhm.
but from the way people talked about it on Book Talk, I thought it was just like straight smut. It was not. My friend convinced me to read it, and while yes, there's scenes, but like, a lot of the books I read do. It was actually a really cute story. I deeply enjoyed the actual plot. And I then read the two follow-up books that follow two different couples within the same universe. And the third book in that series is one of my all-time favorite books. And that
Okay.
was called Daydream. It was so good.
Okay. Um, I'm not complaining. I'm just saying that I don't know if I should be reading it at Target. So
I've read weirder books in public.
okay, we'll
Cat in the
leave,
Hat.
we'll leave
It's
it at that. Not gonna pry. It's like Kaylin's just walking down the street reading magazines this way. I don't know. I don't know. um, Aaron, are you a big book guy?
it's another resolution. So, okay. There's a lot of things I say I'm gonna do. And it's like, am I gonna do it? Who knows?
Yeah.
But growing up, I was a very slow reader. So books were not necessarily like I was not necessarily attracted to reading a lot because of I was insecure about my slow reading.
Mm.
Yeah.
And so I felt like I couldn't enjoy a book if I was taking it so slow because I don't know if y'all had AR points in school, but you had to read like a certain amount of books in a certain amount of time if you reached
Ooh.
these AR goals, and if you didn't, you got punished at the end of the school year. And so here I am, like this 7, 8 year old kid who is a very slow reader, and always getting kind of punished from these AR points of not reaching it. So it just kind of turned off the whole idea of
Oh.
reading for me. But no longer a 7 or 8 year old kid. There's literally no stakes at it. It's just all enjoyment. So
Yeah.
I think I'm opening up to the idea of being able to do that.
Yeah.
And I think what was the book series that I was just one that like a lot of people have read back in the day, like Percy Jackson, something like that, something more like I guess mainstream, so I can sort of hook into it more, and that can be a gateway for more ones that are not so mainstream.
Yeah.
And honestly, Percy Jackson, based on what you just said, it's like the perfect book to kind of get back into reading with because pretty much all of the characters in those books
Hmm.
have a reading disability. Not that I'm
Oh,
saying you have a
sick.
reading disability, but
Right,
like
yeah.
though that's something that affects the main characters, like they're insecure because all of the characters have ADHD and dyslexia. Because the author's son had ADHD and dyslexia. So Percy
Mm,
Jackson started as a bedtime story that he would tell his son that made his son feel not so insecure about those things because the ADHD helps the Greek demigods have better reflexes in battle, and they like notice little things better because of their ADHD, and the dyslexia
Oh.
allows them to read ancient Greek. So he like turned
Huh.
them into superpowers for those kids. So it's like these kids, like when you meet them, they have all these insecurities about that, and then they find out they're demigods, and it's like, oh, that's why I'm different. This is actually a good thing.
Oh, that's dope. I like that.
And yeah, I absolutely, it's actually used in colleges a lot
Hmm.
for like the education majors
Hmm.
as a way to like help educate future teachers on how these learning disabilities like can be twisted to, it's like, okay, you have this thing that holds you back in one way, but then there's also these positives,
For sure.
you
Um,
know?
Yeah. Yeah, because that was me. It was all, I think it was full disclosure, undiagnosed, but like
yeah.
the signs are there of ADHD because I
Yeah.
was the
Mhm.
kid that I would be reading the book and then I make it to the end of the page and I don't recall a thing of what I just read. Or I would have
Right.
to read like the same line a few times and it
Yeah.
still just would not stick. So,
Yeah.
Right.
Um,
And I myself grew up with undiagnosed ADHD. I got diagnosed a couple of years ago, but
mm,
I grew up reading those books as they came out while I was in middle school. And there was one character in particular, the character Annabeth, that I always latched onto and I really connected with her. And I didn't fully understand why she particularly spoke to me until I got diagnosed. And all the pieces just kind of fell together.
right.
we're gonna segue to Percy Jackson, but I have a diagnosed ADHD, but I was one of the people who read ahead of my grades. Like
Same.
like I used to read a lot. My biggest problem though, because of ADHD and whatnot, I never really wanted to read the books that were assigned in class. So I would be
Yes.
reading, but I would be reading in my table, out of sight, reading what
I
I wanted,
I
which was Animorphs at
right.
the time. Like
Mm,
Animorphs was so huge to me. So every month is a new
yeah.
Animorphs book. I'm just trying to read it. I'm trying to read it because it was my friend's book. Like he would read it first and then give it to me, and I would try to read it within like one school day so I can give it back to him.
Right.
And so, or I take it home and it's not a big a deal. But the point being
Right.
is, I would get in trouble a lot for that. But I think I stopped reading a lot, like of novels, when I hit high school, and the teacher would literally say, "That's not a real book."
No, literally.
They would constantly say that, and it's like, okay, you didn't
Yeah,
specify what's a real book. Okay,
right. Yeah, high school and college is where I was a huge reader as a kid. Like I would be, I have a distinct memory of being like 9 years old. I was obsessed with like the Great Illustrated Classics series,
mm,
which was a wonderful way to introduce young children to classic literature.
yeah,
And I remember being like 9 years old. It was well after my bedtime. I'm supposed to be asleep, but I'm under the covers with my flashlight, like finishing King Arthur. And spoiler, if you're not familiar with King Arthur, everybody dies. You get
well,
to
I
the end
mean,
of the book
by
and
by 2025, I would think so.
right. So like see, I get to the end of the book and everybody's dead. And of course, I'm 9 years old and very emotional. And I like run down to my parents and I'm like crying, like I know I'm supposed to be asleep, but it's like my parents couldn't get me mad at me. Like I was up late because I was reading.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, I got to high school and college and we're being assigned books like, The Awakening and Heart of Darkness. And oh my God, I don't want to read that crap. I
yeah.
liked like Shakespeare and the Odyssey. I mean, don't even
Let's
get me started on this past year with the Odyssey and Epic the musical.
yeah.
But I loved that stuff, but a lot of the books sucked. And so I fell off of reading by the time I got to be an adult. And it wasn't until a ton of people recommended A Court of Thorns and Roses last summer that I decided to check it out. And
Yeah.
I went off the deep end real fast.
As we segue back to 2025, here's the question. Cailin might know: is Percy Jackson coming back in 2025?
Yeah, I don't know if it's
The
coming back in
show.
2025, but they are filming season two.
Okay.
Season two was confirmed. They've been announcing casting announcements, which has been very exciting. And it was just within the last month or so, I think that they announced the actress playing Athena, and I'm blanking on her name, but she played, I want to say Billie Holiday in a movie recently.
Okay.
But I'm blanking on the actress's name. But yes, they are filming season two, last I heard. I don't know if it's planned to come out
Uh,
later this year or
it
beginning of
according to
26.
Deadline from December 17th, 2024, Disney revealed at D23 that the series will be streaming in 2025. So there we go.
Okay,
We're
cool.
back on track. Percy
Yay!
Jackson season 2 coming to Disney Plus in 2025. Probably by the end, right? Like it's
Yes.
probably going to be,
And
you know.
season 2 will follow the second book, which is The Sea of Monsters, which is an adaptation of The Odyssey. The Odyssey has been a strong theme in my life this past year.
It's interesting you bring that up, and it's not coming out this year, but Christopher Nolan is making an Odyssey movie, probably
Yes.
coming out 2026 or 2027. Because I don't
Yes.
think Christopher Nolan's gonna rush on it, but
No, but he only announced it on Christmas Eve. And Christmas Eve was also the day that the final saga of Epic Musical came out.
what is epic music? Cool. I'm afraid to ask because Cailin, this is gonna be
I will try and keep this brief.
The Cailin Talks season 1.
You're not wrong. I'll keep this brief. Epic the Musical is a concept album that was created by a TikToker. He started writing it like 3-4 years ago and then started casting through TikTok. And he's been slowly over the course of this last year releasing the musical in 4 or 5 song sagas. And it covers the story of the Odyssey. And it's a loose interpretation. He definitely took a lot of creative liberties to make his own story, but I highly recommend it. It is fantastically, wonderfully produced. The casting is amazing. Um, you can definitely see influences from a lot of modern musical writers like Lin-Manuel Miranda. But he definitely has his own style, and the whole thing is on Spotify. It's just amazing.
Okay.
So if you're a
All
fan
right.
of Greek mythology and musicals, check out Epic.
I am. So maybe I'll check it out.
Yeah.
Uh,
My entire Spotify Wrapped was just Epic the Musical this year.
That's fair. Here's a question for Aaron. What's the number one? If you had to choose one movie, I don't know if it's too tough to think about, but like one movie that you're most looking forward to coming out in 2025. Because for anyone out there who doesn't know, there's a bunch of movies and TV shows coming out. Obviously, we got Marvel stuff. We got just straight Disney stuff. A24, the independent company that, has a big cult following, has 18 movies coming out in 2025.
Jeez.
At some point, they're going to come out with 24 movies, and it's just going to be apropos. DC Universe, whatever, I think has just one. I think it's just Superman. I don't think there's a TV show or anything come out in 2025. And then Star Wars has a couple of things, but that's a little bit light. And so when we're talking big franchises, sure, there's a lot coming out, but could you pick just one, Aaron?
If I have to,
Luckily you don't in real life. You can, have
For sure.
everything your heart desires.
I think honestly, right now I'm zeroing in. I think it's because it's so. Wait, I just got those two mixed up. Still looking forward to it, but the Thunderbolts.
Okay.
Thunderbolts, I think, is top of my list just because Bucky Barnes. That's one, not only just a character I really love, it's a character I cosplay all the time. One I am hoping to upgrade because of the Thunderbolts coming out.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I'm loving that there are two very grounded spy thriller-esque MCU movies coming out this year, just because, Captain America: The Winter Soldier was such a staple at the time, and it being the over 10 years since it's come out. I don't know. I feel like that this is sort of just kind of going back to what was putting the MCU on the map, is like putting these different genres of movies as opposed to everything being a magical slash space slash multiverse adventure. It's kind of regrounding itself, and just kind of getting its footing again in this sort of wave that they're in their final steps before they have another big blow off movie, two big blow off movies coming up soon.
Yeah. I mean, Marvel has a huge slate. And I mean, it would make sense to start off this episode talking about Marvel's slate because it's huge. And obviously we're going to be going back and forth and there's a lot to talk about, but We got 3 movies. We got Thunderbolts. We got Captain America: Brave New World. Not in that order. Captain America comes first, then Thunderbolts, then Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
Something that people have been waiting around for at least a decade. For proper Fantastic Four return to form. Return to form. That pun's intended. That pun is intended. Don't steal it. I'm gonna make some. I'll make something out of it. But we also got a lot of Marvel TV coming out. So not only do we have the 3 movies, we got Daredevil Born Again, we have Ironheart, we have Eyes of Wakanda, which is an animated one. Also animated is Marvel Zombies. Also animated is Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. We also have the Wonder Man TV show, and then I think that's it, unless you count Spider-Man Noir, which is from Sony Pictures Television, which is not the MCU, but it's Nicolas Cage as Spider-Man Noir live action.
Oh, I missed that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Listen, I
That's
love
on
Nick
Amazon Prime, I think, or something. Yeah.
Well, I will highly be looking forward to that.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Now, do we know if they've confirmed on if it is a direct tie-in to Spider-Verse or Beyond the Spider-Verse, or is it just sort of their own experimental thing on the side?
I don't know.
I mean, it's Nicolas Cage and it's Spider-Man Noir, and the design looks very akin to what it is in Spider-Verse. So
yeah,
right.
Yeah, I don't know. I do know that Lamorne Morris is in it, who plays Winston on New Girl. He
Love
just
him.
won an Emmy for Fargo.
Right.
And he also has a podcast that I listen to. And he was talking about how he's been working with Nicolas Cage, and which I think is pretty cool. But who knows whether it'll be good or not? But they got talent. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
Is it too many Marvel stuff this year? Is it too much?
it feels like it's less than what we've had, but also it feels like more at the same time. I think it's because it's maybe not so much all the same timeline. It's all sort of anthologies slash some main timeline.
Yeah.
And it's not congesting itself in that aspect.
Right. Like I feel like as far as actual MCU content goes, it it feels like a decent amount without feeling like an overwhelming amount.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, 3 animated Marvel shows, 3 live action movies, plus what? Daredevil, Ironheart, Wonder Man. What, 3 live action TV shows, essentially?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are all the animated shows part of the MCU?
Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man's not. Eyes of
No.
Wakanda, I think, is. It's
Yes,
just a
that
4
would be.
episode. It's like a 4 episode miniseries.
Okay.
And
And then what's the other show?
Marvel Zombies, right?
Marvel Zombies is a different
Marvel
universe.
Zombies.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Well,
But I mean,
I'm highly looking forward to Daredevil.
Yeah. I'm really interested to see what Marvel does, because kind of like Aaron is really excited for this return to, the spy thriller sort of stuff with 2 movies. That's what I believe in. It's like Marvel needs to have their franchises that they do a spy thing, they do a space thing, they do a magic thing, and keep them a little bit separate.
Right.
Yeah.
And you can choose which, major you want to take,
Right. I like a good superhero spy flick.
Yeah. It's been a long time.
I mean, my favorite's
Black
Winter
Widow was the
Soldier.
last one.
Yeah, Black Widow was amazing. Winter Soldier is still my favorite MCU movie.
Mm-hmm.
Winter Soldier is the most structurally sound, but I do like Civil War
Civil War is good.
just for the full toy box.
Anything Captain America.
Yeah.
I mean, really, anything involving Captain America / supporting characters.
Yeah.
I mean, Falcon and the Winter Soldier was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm very excited for Captain America: Brave New World.
Yeah.
I think it's gonna be good.
Yeah.
You guys hesitant?
I'm looking forward to it, but I'm not jumping for it the way I have been with other Marvel stuff. And I think that's partially a combination of I think this past year I finally kind of like started to slip out of my Marvel obsession.
Hmm.
Like I'm still into it, but I'm not like I don't feel myself rushing to necessarily see everything. Like I haven't even apparently what if season 3 is out? Didn't even realize it was out, and I
Mm.
never even finished season 2. Now, what if is by no means my something I've what if has never been my favorite. So
Yeah.
that's part of it. But it took me a bit to even watch. It was quite a while before I even watched Agatha All Along, which I'm glad I finally did watch. Wasn't my favorite,
No.
but I did
Okay.
enjoy it. I liked the characters a lot. Um, yeah, I feel like I've kind of like fallen off Marvel the way I had been.
That's fair. Um, Marvel has a huge slate, and if we ever feel like talking more about it, we can come back to it. But
Yeah.
on the flip side, something that people are majority looking forward to because the Superman trailer just dropped is the one DC project that comes out this year. They're developing a lot more. They're developing Supergirl. They're developing Clayface. Um,
Right.
they're in talks for a Teen Titans movie, but it hasn't gotten very far.
Yeah.
James Gunn has been said essentially he will not announce a new movie or he will not start production on a movie until the script is exactly how you want it because DC
Good.
has done it in the past. I'm sure Marvel
Yeah.
has done it in the past where they're like green lighting projects and moving projects forward and the script isn't even completed yet.
Yeah.
But Superman,
No,
I mean, I'm wearing my Superman shirt. I didn't know Cailin was wearing hers.
I've
Uh,
got my Daily Planet behind me.
Yeah.
got
What's
Michael Jackson Thriller. I didn't get the memo.
I
Yeah.
think there's a live action Michael Jackson movie coming out this
There
year.
is. It's on my list.
There we
Oh,
go.
I did hear
Yeah, we'll
about
get there.
that. We'll get there. But yeah, I would
Um
say Superman is definitely my most anticipated movie this year.
Yeah.
I am very excited for it, but I'm very nervous.
I'm feeling less and less nervous.
Yeah.
I think for the last 10 years, I've had a lot of nerves and nausea and just like plain disappointment when it comes to DC films.
Uh-huh.
Um, and I think this is the first time in a while that I've been like truly excited for him. I have high hopes. And honestly, a majority of that is simply because it's James Gunn,
Yeah.
Hmm.
because he's proven over and over again to have clear understandings of comic book characters because he actually read the comics. He has a passion for that medium and has a good understanding of how to adapt that medium to film well, as he's proven with Guardians of the Galaxy. And I mean, that's one of the considered by many to be some of the best superhero movies ever made.
Yeah.
And the trailer, I think, shows that he's going to do the same with Superman.
Yeah. I showed everyone the trailer that I could.
Same.
Like, here's the thing that all three of us must know is that we're not normal and we're not mainstream audiences, right? Like, we are dedicated to the fandoms that we like and we look into things and we like know things sometimes that the mainstream audiences don't and they have to like whatever. So, like, my mom, she's mainstream audience because she is so detached from it. She might see it, she might not, whatever. But I showed her the trailer and I was like, oh, you won't guess like what's in this. And she's like, I really won't guess because I don't know Superman. And I'm like, okay, fine. But like when Crypto shows up, like my mom loved Crypto. And then we've seen like me and my mom watched the Legion or DC League of Super Pets, the one with Crypto and like the
I
animated
loved
movie.
that show.
No,
The
the
movie.
movie. Yeah, not
I
the
never saw the
Crypto.
movie, but
Sorry.
okay, I never saw the movie.
Oh,
But I
okay.
loved the animated Crypto show
Yeah.
as a
Yep.
kid.
Yeah. We watched the movie, and so I was like, "That's the same. It's Crypto." So I've been trying to show everybody the Superman trailer.
Yeah. No, I was so excited when they showed Crypto.
Yeah,
I'm very excited. And I really liked that they started that trailer by showing Superman at like he couldn't be possibly weaker. He's like, I need my dog. I can't stand.
yeah,
I thought that was such an interesting way to start the trailer. And then just the rest of the shot, like shot for shot, it was a really well done trailer.
Yeah,
And I feel like it gives us a really full picture of, without telling us too much, of what we
Yes.
can expect from this movie.
yeah. Aaron, are
Yeah,
you excited for it?
I am very. I've been out of the game just because of the. I remember watching Justice League whenever it first came out,
Yeah,
the 2017 movie, and I remember being excited for it because I was such a big Justice League Unlimited fan as a kid, like the animated
Yeah.
series. And I watched it, and I'm like, oh no, we are so far away from where I want to be. And
Yeah.
Wonder Woman was great, and then just a few things that came out that were good as well, like the Suicide Squad as opposed to Suicide Squad, which again another James Gunn
Yep.
adaptation. So being able to see this trailer, I got like those butterflies of like that kid watching the Justice League animated series, and I really think that he is going to make a very heartfelt, like near and dear series for generations. And it made me start thinking about like my nephew and my niece, like they're big into like we're starting to get big into superheroes and stuff like that. And so knowing that this is going to be like this is going to be their start into like their Superman and the one they'll know growing up, hopefully, if it continues on.
Right.
Um, I don't know, it just had that out of this world wonder that I think is a again another good refresher, like a good contrast to what we're getting with Marvel is like that new fresh start and fresh beginning and establishing this world of where we're just in awe of what we're potentially going to see.
yeah. Um, I have a thing again. Okay, like I brought up that I used to read the Animorphs books, like when they were coming out. That was my jam. I am used to adaptation disappointing me, but still sticking through it unless they completely slap me in my face. You
Right.
know, I normally stick through things. I stuck through Smallville for 10 seasons. I watched almost all of the Arrowverse stuff, and like they they probably actually slapped me in the face a couple of times. But the point being is that like I'm very dedicated. Animorphs, there was a Nickelodeon show back in the 90s that like was not good, but I liked it because it was Animorphs and it was my adaptation, right?
Yep.
So with the DC movies, it was always like, okay, I accept that this was not exactly what I wanted, but they'll do better next time. And I was always like, and then like I would watch the trailer for like DC Superman or Batman Superman Dawn of Justice or whatever, and I'm like, the
Oof.
trailer looks bonkers. They're gonna get it right. They're gonna get everything great, and it's gonna be
Yeah.
crazy. And then I watch it, and I was like, oh no, why? What did they do? My boy, you know?
No, that movie was so disappointing.
Yeah, it was. And then Justice League came out, and I was like, ah.
Yeah.
And then people were
I
like, no, you got to watch the full 4 hour cut to
I
actually
actually
like it.
I actually did like the 4 hour cut better
Yeah.
than the original. I watched it over the course of a couple of days because it was like separated nicely into different parts. And while I haven't watched it again since, I did like it more than the original theatrical cut. Batman versus Superman I saw for free, and at the end of those 2.5 hours, I still felt like I had wasted my money.
Yeah. Yeah. It was not great, but James Gunn does give me hope, and
Yeah.
people have their qualms about James Gunn, whether he's just gonna make things like gritty and weird and like just a group of outsiders. Like he does that really well.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I don't think he's a one trick pony, but like between the Suicide Squad, Creature Commandos, which is currently out right now and finishing up the season soon, and Guardians of the Galaxy, they're all roughly very similar. Like Superman is a completely
Right.
different thing,
Yeah.
but
I
he's
get
gonna
the
stick the
skepticism.
landing.
I want him to.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a lot that rides on this one doing well.
It does. This could
Yeah.
make or break the future of DC film as a whole
We're just
for a
gonna get
long
Batman
time.
movies for the next 50 years, and that's it. The same thing over and over, which is fine. I love Batman,
Listen,
but come on, we can tell a different
I
story.
love Batman, but I'm so tired of being beaten over the head with Batman movies.
Yeah,
Like, give me literally any other Bat family member. They're so DC. This is the thing that frustrates me about like DC films. Like, I'm excited about the Superman movie. I really am. And I understand why we need a new Superman movie because, like you said, we're the weird ones. Other mainstream audiences, they know the big three. They know Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman, and they don't even know that they're not Marvel. Like,
Yeah.
I've met so many people who are like, "Oh, Superman is Marvel." I'm like, no. Um, so like I understand why mainstream audiences need the big three that they know. But we know they have this deep, vast catalog, and I want that.
Yeah.
Like I have been begging for years for a Dick Grayson movie. I want a good adaptation of Dick Grayson.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I
Yeah.
am also still not over Batgirl getting vaulted.
I don't understand why they can't. Well, I mean, I do understand why they canceled
I know
Batgirl.
financially and legally why they can't, but it still pisses me off.
They canceled it saying that it wouldn't make any money, blah blah blah, and it wasn't ready. The Flash came out. Uh,
I didn't even see
what
it.
other ones? You know, there were other movies that came out. Aquaman 2?
Didn't see it.
Come on. It's like it couldn't have been worse. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. I'm looking forward to it. 2025 could be the year that DC comes back. A lot of
Yeah.
kids need to know these names and they don't.
Yes.
Right.
You know? But it is
Or
what
they
it
look
is.
at like Henry Cavill's Superman and they think he's scary.
Yeah. Or
They're
just
like,
like
oh,
Superman's a
Superman's
bruiser,
yeah.
you know?
Like
Speaking of
no,
which,
like
oh sorry, what?
well, I was gonna say like one of the things I really that gives me a lot of hope about this movie is just the fact that the actor, David, I think his name is Corn Sweat.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like the reason Superman's wearing trunks in this movie is entirely because he said like kids shouldn't be scared of Superman. He's supposed to look like the wrestlers they love. We need to give him the trunks.
Yeah.
And I love that he had that understanding of the character that I think a lot of people are forgetting.
Yeah. What was I gonna what was I gonna say? I forget what I was gonna say. I was gonna
I'm so sorry.
No, it's all right. I forget where I was gonna
Something
go
about
with
Henry
this.
Cavill. That was the last thing you said before you were about to start.
Yeah, it's all right. No worries.
Cool.
Um, are there any movies that are out there that are not a big franchise sort of IP thing? That's not Disney. That's not DC. Anything you're looking forward to in 2025? I have my pick of like
Yes.
you know, but is there
I have a
something that you
list.
guys are looking forward to?
Oh yes.
Do you want to go?
You can
Aaron?
go. You have your list ready.
Me go first?
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
I wrote
Cailin, yeah.
down before this, I was watching a couple trailers.
Yeah.
Just to kind of get an idea of what's coming. And I came across a couple trailers that I am actually pretty interested in. Love Hurts, which is Ki Huy Kwan's movie.
Oh yeah. It's like an
Yeah,
action
that
movie.
trailer. Right. It's like he used to be a spy and now he's like working a regular job, but like he ends up having to get reactivated because people like his brother is after him for a mission that he had done before, I think.
Yeah. I
That looks
love
really
him.
fun. Also, I just love him.
Yeah.
I'm excited that he's like really back in the acting game again because he's so enjoyable in everything. The Gorge, I watched the trailer for that.
Oh, I didn't see the trailer for it, but the premise looks crazy.
Really interesting. I think it's Miles Teller and Anya Taylor-Joy.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like watching the beginning of the trailer. I'm like, oh, cool. This is going to be some sort of like action assassin spy thriller. Nope. That it took a left turn that I wasn't expecting, and I want to see where it goes.
It's that it's two opposite factions watching over a hole into hell. Is that what the
Yeah.
premise is?
Yeah.
Okay.
And they're not supposed to communicate with each other, but they like kind of form this like little friendship. They're like through communicating through like cue cards, like playing chess.
Huh.
But then they eventually somehow end up in the gorge and something's gonna happen.
Oh, okay. But
Black Bag and Death of a Unicorn. Oh, sorry.
I did want to throw out that Marshawn Lynch is in Love Hurts, and I think he's
Why do I
a
know that name?
cool guy. Ex NFL player, but then he was also in.
Oh,
He was in
yes.
like Westworld season 3, I think. He didn't do much in that, but what I like him a
He was
lot.
in Bottoms.
He was in Bottoms, yeah,
He was the teacher in
Yeah.
Bottoms. That's the only thing I know him from.
yeah. There was also that not Fred, Will Arnett improv sort of detective show where they get in a celebrity to like they don't know what's going on.
Mhm.
Marshawn Lynch was on
Oh,
an
yeah,
episode
yeah.
of that, and that was like
Oh,
super
was
fun.
he?
Yeah,
I only saw like a couple episodes of that, but that was a fun premise.
yeah. And sorry, Cailin, what else? You had a whole
Oh,
list.
the two other things for her, my really big thing that I'm excited about, are Black Bag and Death of a Unicorn. Those both have absolutely stacked casts.
Which one's Black
And
Bag?
Black Bag is Michael Fassbender, Kate Blanchett, and Pierce Brosnan. And from what I gather from the trailer, Michael Fassbender is like a spy or an assassin or something, and he's given a new mission. And it's like you have to take out this target, or a lot of people are gonna die. And then he found out that the target is his wife.
Hmm.
And then Death of a Unicorn just looks absurd,
Yeah,
and it's got a great cast.
That's Paul Rudd.
Paul Rudd, Jenna Ortega, um, Will Poulter. There's a bunch of other people in it. I can't
Yeah,
think of it
and
at the
that's
top
an
of my head.
A24 movie.
I think so.
Yeah, but it's supposed to be a dark comedy. It says.
Yes, and it's like a unicorn gets killed. They find out that the blood or something can cure cancer, but then another unicorn is really pissed that they killed its friend.
Yeah,
So they're being hunted by this human eating unicorn. But my most anticipated movie is Wicked.
that does come out. Yeah. This second part.
Yeah, this is the longest intermission of my life as a theater kid.
That's funny. I'll end up seeing Wicked Part 2.
Yeah, I'm very excited.
We'll see how it goes. Aaron.
The first one was so good.
Yeah. Aaron, did you see Wicked?
I'm a bad theater kid. I need to. I just December was a very busy month, and I just had not found time. But I mean, it's the way movies go now. It's about to be on streaming here in the next few weeks or so. So I'll catch it whenever it comes on there.
It's actually already on streaming, but it just costs a lot.
Oh, renting.
Yeah, so it's like $30 to buy digital or $20 to rent, which if you watch it with a bunch of friends, actually
True.
costs less than seeing it in theaters.
That's true. Yeah.
And
See,
it's so worth it.
I need to. See, I was going to see the stage. I haven't even seen the stage version of it yet. I almost saw it a few years ago, but I was doing a show in college at the time. And
Okay.
so my dad, who self-proclaims that he's not into theater unless I'm in it, but he went with my mom to go see it because we all go see theater together sometimes. And he went to go see it and he freaking loved it. And so whenever the movie came out, he was like secretly kind of like, oh yeah, I'll check it out. It might be okay. It might be good. But all that to be said, I have a group I'll be watching it with. So once I
See, I live not too far from New York, so it's very easy to take a day trip into the city and go to Broadway.
Yeah.
And so my parents are huge Broadway fans. So I've been very lucky to see a lot of Broadway shows. I saw Wicked on Broadway, and I've also seen it on the West End in London.
Oh wow.
Both times were amazing, but nobody will ever top my parents because they saw the original cast in previews. It hadn't even officially opened. It wasn't the phenomenon that it was. It was this new show starring Kristen Chenoweth and Idina Menzel. My parents were like, hell yeah, we love both.
Yeah.
Particularly Kristen Chenoweth. My parents adore her. So that's why they went. And it was like one of those, they said it was one of those moments where like as soon as the curtains closed, like everybody was on their cell phones calling everybody they knew. Because it was like, everybody knew it would be good, but they didn't realize it would be what it was.
Right, for sure. No, that's awesome. I'm excited to see it, and I'm excited to see the sequel whenever it comes out this year or possibly the following year when it's also on streaming. But no, I'll see it in theaters. I'll see that one in theaters for sure.
Yeah. And I think that they've announced the subtitle. It's like officially titled Wicked for Good.
Yeah.
Which For Good is the name of a song that's in the second part.
Oh, okay.
Thanks for that clarification. I don't know
Yeah.
anything about Wicked past what I saw in the movie.
Yeah.
I looked up the ending on Wikipedia, but that was it.
Fair enough.
Shame.
Aaron, though, you are a Michael Jackson fan. Are you looking forward to the Michael Jackson movie? It's called Michael.
Yeah, just Michael. Mostly yes, because Michael Jackson, whenever he passed, that's whenever I started becoming more of a fan. I started looking at his catalog. They were showing all of the music videos on TV. Um, and anybody who knows of Michael Jackson, his life was not without a lot of controversy. And I think something that I'm not looking forward to with this movie, interestingly enough, is Jafar Jackson, who is Jermaine Jackson's son, Michael's nephew, is going to be playing him. And
Oh,
yeah, and I don't
didn't know that.
necessarily like that
Mm.
in the sense of because of the controversies, no matter which side people are on, because it's a very divisive topic. I feel
Right.
that if you have a family member in that title role, it's going to leave any sort of objectivity out of
Yeah.
it. Like it will not
Yeah.
be objective. It will be a very specific narrative, and I think that it's just it's where it gets touchy because you get into just legacy versus reputation all the way across the board. And I wish that it would be a more objective movie. But if it is just meant to celebrate the career and the music that he released, sure, I can see that. But it's a very, very heavy story either way.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of a lose-lose situation.
Right.
Yeah.
Because if they're only going for his musical accomplishments, there's going to be a lot of people that are upset that they're leaving out this part because it's like,
Which they do for
it was
biopics
there.
all the time. It's
Right.
like
No, I
they will
know.
always leave something out, and people will always get upset at biopics for leaving
Right. But
things
then
out.
it's like, if you do include it, it's like, okay, you're going to upset one side or the other of the controversy because it's hard to portray that stuff objectively. If like
Right.
even the reason it's so controversial is because like the fact of the matter is we don't fully know.
Right.
There's the people that believe one thing, there's the people that believe the other. And I don't have an opinion one way or the other because I
Mhm.
honestly just haven't looked into it enough to have formed an opinion. And I've
No,
just
that's fair.
heard a lot of conflicting information. But there are some people that feel very strongly one way or the other. So it's a lose-lose.
Yeah. Um, as I'm looking into this, there are so many movies coming out next year. Like
Yeah.
even more so than I thought. I'm looking forward to Paddington in Peru. The Paddington Bear movies are criminally underrated. They are family movies, but they are literal perfection.
Well, isn't Paddington 2 like one of the highest rated movies of all time?
Probably. Paddington
I think
is just
it
really
like
just beloved.
it like got outrated. It like outrated like Citizen Kane or something.
I mean,
Oh,
one is
wow.
probably more fun to watch than the other, I'll tell you that.
For sure.
I've never seen either.
Rotten Tomatoes has
But I have a feeling
Paddington
I'd like
1.
Paddington more.
Paddington 1 is 97 on Rotten Tomatoes. And Paddington 2 is 99 on Rotten Tomatoes.
Dang, that's
If you've
crazy.
never seen Paddington, like the two Paddington Bear movies,
I haven't.
like, and as long as you're not like too cool for school, if you're like some edgelord that just needs like, just wants to like binge watch Venom like over and over and over again, sure, maybe Paddington's not for you. But if you're just like a normal human being with empathy and like taste, then Paddington's gonna score you a 99 and a 90 whatever 7.
Oh, I'll have to check him out.
It's so good. And the third one's coming out, Paddington in Peru.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Maybe this one's the bad one. Maybe this one just doesn't work.
I don't know. Well, here's the really important question. Is President Zelensky going to be doing the Ukrainian voice for the third movie?
Wait, what?
The Ukrainian president is the voice for Ukrainian Paddington.
I didn't know. I
In
didn't
the
know that. You
Ukrainian,
lost me
in the
there. I was
Ukraine,
like, what does that
I'm
mean?
so serious. No, yeah. So the president of Ukraine, prior to becoming president, was a comedy actor. He was like the star of a comedy show about a history teacher becoming president, and now he's actually president.
Oh,
But he also has done some voice acting, and he's the voice of Paddington in the Ukrainian dub.
I didn't know
That
that.
is insane lore. Like that is like
And so I'm like, okay, like he's president, but he's also being president of a country that's in the middle of a very extreme war. But did he take a little time to himself to also record Paddington
I
3?
doubt. I doubt it, but
oh wow.
I think those are the important questions.
yeah. I don't know if you guys know, but Paddington is from Peru, and he goes to London in the first movie, and so Paddington in
Oh.
Peru, like he's a Peruvian bear.
He's going
Um,
home.
yeah, because his aunt has gone missing. So his aunt,
Oh,
his old bear aunt, has gone missing in Peru, and he needs to go back to Peru to find his aunt.
I clearly knew nothing about Paddington. I thought it was just a bear in a coat. I'm like, what's the plot of this movie?
He's called Paddington because he names himself, I think, out after Paddington
The train
Station or
station.
whatever. Yeah,
Oh.
Yeah.
yeah,
So wait, what's the without spoiling, because now I kind of want to see these.
yeah.
What's the plot of the first movie?
He has to. He's a refugee essentially. Like
Oh.
in lighter. I mean, in a kids movie, sure, but like there's like in the beginning, I think an earthquake hits like where him and his aunt and uncle are, like three bears, and then like his aunt's like, no, you gotta go, you gotta move. Like we'll send you to London. So they send him to London, and he lives with a human family, and obviously, hilarity ensues. But then you get villains. Like there's a villain, I think Nicole Kidman in the first one, and then Hugh Grant in the second, and then Antonia Banderas in the third.
Antonio Banderas.
Sold.
It's
Oh, okay. This is gonna go on my to be watched this week.
I cannot.
I got lots of time.
Yeah, Paddington is so good, and people don't know it because they're like, it's just
No,
another animal in a house movie, but it's
I'll
not.
be so honest. I had no interest in seeing it, and now I'm hooked.
I'm just saying, don't sleep on it. And Paddington Peru's coming
No.
out, so I'm excited.
Okay,
Yeah.
I will give you my feedback.
Okay. I'm trying to look at other big things that there's a new Knives Out movie. It's called Wake Up Dead Man.
I did not know this.
Comes out this
Same.
year.
What?
Yeah. Who's in it?
Oh, it's a stacked cast.
It's Andrew Scott. I don't know who Andrew Scott is. Glenn Close.
Oh, I know that name.
Glenn Close, Kerry Washington, Josh Brolin, Jeremy Renner, Kaylee Spaney, Mila
Oh.
Kunis, Tom and Hayden Church. And
I do
I will see
remember
that.
hearing about this
Obviously
now.
Daniel
I just
Craig.
didn't know it had a name.
Nope,
Yeah.
this is the first I'm hearing of it. I will be sad.
Yep. If you're a fan. Karate Kids Legends.
Yes.
It technically ties in with Cobra Kai and the Jackie Chan movie. Like
Oh.
it bridges Jackie Chan and Ralph Macchio together
Yeah.
to teach a new kid something.
Interesting.
Aaron,
Yeah,
you a fan?
Yes, big time, dude. I just finished up part two of the final. So the final season of Cobra Kai is being released in three parts, if you don't know.
Okay.
And I just finished part two last night. It's such an when you look at it from outside, it's such an insane show. But looking at it and just getting immersed in the world of this drama that surrounds itself around karate and martial arts, it just sucks you in so much. And I was wondering if it was going to actually tie in with the Karate Kid Legends coming out. I don't see why it wouldn't, because I feel like Cobra Kai is the only reason that Karate Kid Legends is a thing.
Right.
Hmm.
But looking at the tone of the trailer for Karate Kid Legends versus where they're at right now with Cobra Kai, I'm curious what part three is going to be about, and if Jackie Chan is going to make some sort of cameo to segue into Karate Kid Legends.
Yeah, I don't know. A Karate Kid Legends looks like it takes place in New York, but I could be wrong. Like it doesn't look like it takes place in Encino where Cobra Kai
Right.
is, right?
Right. I mean, they're in Miyagi's house for a portion of the trailer, and it looks exactly like it does in Cobra Kai, which I mean, I guess it would. Um, but I don't know. I guess it's just not to spoil anything about Cobra Kai, but they're kind of in a rebuilding sort of scenario right now, so it
Mm.
could possibly just kind of play into that because the kids they have now are older, they're about to graduate from high school, and so maybe it's part of that new wave or that next class coming in.
Yeah. I don't know. But if you're a Karate Kids fan like Aaron is,
Yeah.
you know, I'm
It's
wondering
dope.
if
It's so ridiculous, but it's so dope.
yeah, I'm wondering if Hilary Swank's gonna appear because there was a Karate Kid movie with Hilary Swank.
Who? I'm sorry, the camera cut out. Who'd you say?
Hilary Swank.
Oh, yes.
She
It
was
was the next Karate Kid.
yeah, with her and
Yeah.
Mr. Miyagi.
I don't know.
Oh.
It's been rumored for Cobra Kai ever since the show came out, but I don't
Yeah,
know if they were gonna pull the trigger on that one.
yeah. Who knows? Who knows? Are you guys big horror fans?
It depends.
Because
More
It
so
depends.
in recent years than
uh,
before.
uh,
I like a good slasher. I've enjoyed the Quiet Place movies, and I'm a big fan of the show From.
what's
But
from?
From is I don't think the next season's coming out this year. I think it comes out like early 26. But there's 3 seasons so far. It's on MGM Plus.
Hmm.
And it's honestly so creepy. It's not something I would normally watch, but it's so incredibly well written. Um, it's it it's about this town that doesn't really have a fixed location. It's like generally in the US, but the people that arrive into the town come from all different parts of the country. And once you're in this town, you're stuck. You can't leave. Um, and during the day, you just kind of try and like live your life, and it's a little community that's sharing resources. At night, you better make sure that you're inside your door with the door locked and a talisman on it. Otherwise, the really disturbing monsters are gonna get you.
Are those the weird people who kind of like they're like
So like
fairy demons or something?
so the monsters like when you first see them, they just look like people, but they're dressed in like 1950s clothes.
Yeah.
So there's like the 1950s nurse and the milkman and like the cheerleader, and they're just like dressed in like regular clothes. But like once they're up on you, like their faces transform. They're so disturbing. They don't even eat you. They just torment you. Like they feed off of like the fear. And so they slowly just like rip you to shreds while you're alive.
Oh, they do.
And
Okay.
they just like flay you open.
Oh,
Um,
gross.
it's really creepy. Um, but it's so interesting. And there's like all these sorts of other things that are going on. And so it follows the people of this town as they're trying to just survive, but also trying to figure out like what's going on? Why are they here? What's created these monsters? How do we get out? Um, and it focuses, it's an ensemble cast, but like it primarily focuses on the sheriff of the town. And like prior to the discovery of these talismans, people just like hid underground and prayed. Because without the talismans, like they can just get you. If your door is closed but you have no talisman, you're fucked.
Oh.
But as long
Can
as the
you
door's
can
locked
you
and the
fight
talisman's on the
back?
door, there's they're so crazy strong.
But can you shoot him in the head?
I don't want to say anything.
What does that mean? Okay, fine.
It's a spoiler.
Okay, anyway, I can't do scary. That's what I'm saying.
It's so good.
I don't do scary movies.
I don't do scary either, but this is worth it. Just don't do it when the sun goes down.
No.
I made the mistake of watching an episode after the sun went down, and I had nightmares for 3 nights.
Okay.
But it was worth it. It was so good.
Aaron, are you a horror fan?
Uh, recent years, I was very against horror just because I hated being scared.
Yeah.
But you know, it kind of dawned on me that if I can just do it in a controlled environment, like under just very specific circumstances, like not doing it at night, maybe doing it like
Yep.
early evening, then I'm solid. Except paranormal. I tried the
I
Conjuring
don't do.
movies, and that's a no. That I
Yeah.
appreciate it, but it's not for me.
Yeah, I'm not
Uh,
a paranormal fan.
yeah, but more
Anything
so,
with ghosts.
yeah, it's too real and it's too
Yes.
unknown slash too real.
Yeah, yeah.
Right. Like I like a slasher movie because I can like it's so real that I can rationalize how I would survive.
Right. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
like ghosts, I don't fuck with ghosts.
For me it's aliens. Like,
Yeah, I don't like those ones
Fair.
either.
you know. There I mean there
A
are a couple
Quiet
of
Place
big
was an
horror
exception.
movies that come out. Oh, Quiet Place scares me. I can't watch that movie. I'm not gonna.
See, that was an exception for me. There was something about that I watched the first movie and it didn't totally freak me out, and I've seen the rest now.
Mhm. Um, there's 28 years later, which I don't know if you guys have seen the first two. I have not.
Mm-mm.
I have a love-hate relationship with zombies. I'll only watch zombie stuff in very specific, like Walking Dead, or I read that was because I read the Walking Dead comics. But like Walking Dead was cool to me, and I was like, okay, fine, I'll deal with it because I want that story. But
Right.
there's 28 days later, there's 28 weeks later, and now after many many years, it's 28 years later. And I watched the trailer for that, and it's still, I mean, it scares me. I'm not gonna watch it, but
No.
it's Aaron Taylor Johnson
Oh, I like
in
him.
this zombie apocalypse. So, you know,
Were the original movies Cillian Murphy?
one was, I think the
One
first one
was?
was.
Okay. All right. I love him.
Yeah. But I can't deal with this. I'm not gonna watch it.
No.
But for
No,
anyone
I'm
out
not
there who
going
is
to.
gonna watch it, good for them.
Yeah.
You know? But on a funnier horror note, Megan 2.0 comes out. And I haven't seen the first Megan, but
I haven't seen it
are there
either.
just gonna be more memes of the dancing?
Probably.
Probably, yeah.
Are they gonna ham it up like Chucky does?
See, I wasn't interested in that movie, but with all of the memes, I'm like, okay, I could probably go into this with a good sense of humor.
Yeah. It's a robot doll that comes to life, right? Like it's a full
Yeah.
AI.
And does that weird dance.
Yeah.
Like,
Where
Yeah.
it switches and it's like obviously a person in the thing now.
Yeah. Yeah. But you know, there's that. There are two Frankenstein movies that are coming out.
Yeah.
Weirdly enough, there's one which is Frankenstein by Guillermo del Toro, and the
Okay.
other one is called The Bride, which
Mhm.
I don't know who's doing that, but Christian Bale is the Frankenstein in The Bride, but it's supposed to
is he the monster or the doctor?
he's the monster.
Oh, interesting.
That one has like
Was it
oh,
Penelope
it's Maggie
Cruz?
Maggie Gyllenhaal's acting / directing. Or no, just directing it. It's a punk musical. The Bride is
Okay,
a
now I need to
punk
Google
musical.
this.
I don't know. According to what I'm reading, Penelope Cruz is in it. I don't know
Oh, I
who
like
Jessie
her.
Buckley is, but Jessie Buckley is the bride.
Oh, that's sounds familiar.
And then Guillermo del Toro has the actual like Frankenstein movie, I guess.
Yes.
Upcoming
With Oscar Isaac.
Yeah, and Jacob Elordi. You know.
Yeah. It was Andrew Garfield for a little while
Oh.
before Jacob Elordi took over the role. Yeah,
Interesting.
Andrew had to drop for some scheduling conflict. Still not sure what that was, but it was originally supposed to be him.
Okay.
I would have preferred Andrew.
Fair.
I mean, I like Jacob Elordi. He's fine, but I don't
Yeah.
get excited about him. But I always enjoy Andrew Garfield.
Yeah. Yeah. You guys can talk about it just for a minute more. I'll be back.
Okay.
For sure.
Talk about Jacob Elordi versus Andrew Garfield, who wins in a fight. I don't know.
Andrew Garfield.
Andrew Garfield.
That's not a debate.
Debate done.
like I don't know. I never got into Euphoria, so I don't
Oh,
have
is that
that
what he's from?
association.
Okay.
Yeah, Jacob Elordi, like his big thing is Euphoria, but I watched the first episode and it just wasn't for me. But so I know him from like the Kissing Booth movies.
Oh, that's right. He was in that.
He played the boyfriend in that. But that's it. That's like I'm trying to think. Oh, he was in Saltburn.
Was that the creepy one that came out last year?
It came out just a year ago, and I regret watching that movie.
Yep, that sounds right. Okay.
It was like here's the thing. I had read the entire plot synopsis on Wikipedia before I saw the movie. So I knew exactly what was going to happen, and it still was just so much. I got to the end, I was like, this was a waste.
Was it horror? Was it thriller? Like shock thriller? What was the
It wasn't horror or thriller. It was, I don't know how to describe it. It was just weird. It was like slowly he starts like either killing off or getting other people to kill themselves off
Oh.
until ultimately the mother on her deathbed like leaves everything to him. But he like then confesses all. He's like, I'm like the reason your entire family's dead, but then he also just gets everything.
Well, I hate that.
And it's just there's just like a lot of really weird sexual stuff in it that was there for the shock value of it.
Okay.
Like there's a bathtub scene.
Oh, gross! That one movie.
That yeah, Saltburn.
Yep.
I didn't watch it.
Yeah.
That's where we landed on this
I
debate of Jacob Elordi.
Okay.
yeah. I regret watching that movie.
Mm.
And now I
Mm.
keep seeing trailers for that new movie that's out right now called Baby Girl. And I watched a couple of clips on TikTok and I'm like, okay, so I already watched Saltburn. I don't need to see this.
Yeah.
I was getting the same vibes.
Okay.
Mm.
Jurassic World has a new movie coming out. Jurassic World Rebirth.
Yes, and it's got Jonathan Bailey.
Uh-huh.
And that was enough to convince me that I need to see it.
And Scarlett Johansson.
I mean, yeah, she's there too.
Yeah. Was he the one
And-
with the daddy glasses? Is that what?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's Fiyero in the Wicked movie.
Oh, okay.
He's also famous for Bridgerton.
Yeah.
This makes sense. Okay.
Yep.
Dots are connecting.
And he's just very pretty. So and talented.
Oh yeah, and talented. Yeah, talented.
He's also talented too, but he's nice to look at, so I will see the movie.
Oh yeah, it's just a bonus. It's just extra credit.
The glasses are just this extra layer of him looking adorable.
Okay. This movie is directed by Gareth Edwards, and it's about extracting the genetic info from the dinosaurs that are left.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm a big Jurassic Park fan in
Mhm.
general.
Yeah.
So no matter what, even if it's a bad movie, I'm still
I
gonna
mean, the
watch
last
it.
one was pretty bad, and I still had a good time.
The one before it was the worst.
Yeah. Once again, still had a good time.
I can't watch that one again. I have no reason to.
Okay. I don't think
But-
I've ever seen any of them more than once, except maybe I saw the first Jurassic World a couple times. But I've seen them all in theaters, and they were fun. I'm
Yeah.
really excited that this one doesn't have Chris Pratt, because I'm kind of tired of him.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. It looks like it's its own standalone sort of thing. As far as I know, they haven't announced any past actors coming in, so you know.
All right.
who's
New
to say?
slate.
I mean,
Yeah.
if he's got a small part, fine.
Yeah. Who's to say? Are you guys John Wick fans?
I saw the first movie.
Exactly that. Just watched the first one like maybe 6 months ago.
Okay. There's a spin-off coming out called Ballerina
Yeah.
with Anna de Armas, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I do like Anna de Armas.
And I don't know. I don't know what to think about it. Do we need it? Do we
Wh-
not?
How is it
Whatever.
connected to John Wick?
She's a
Well,
dancer
wanna-
slash assassin.
Wasn't she
Okay.
featured in the last one? I haven't seen it, but I feel like I remember her being in one of those in the trailer.
I mean, I remember her being in the James Bond movie that came out.
Maybe that's what I'm thinking about.
The
Yeah,
No-
she
No
was
Time
in
to
the.
Die.
She had a small little part. She was funny. She was honestly kind of funny in the James Bond movie.
Yeah. Supposedly this one takes place between the third and the fourth Wick movies, which Keanu Reeves could be showing up in
Okay.
because he's
Oh.
not
I do like.
dead.
Wait, does he die in one of the movies? Don't spoil it. I kind of will see them at some point.
Yeah, because they're actually really good. Like the first one was awesome. I've heard they've
The
only
first
gotten
one was
better.
great. I too would go on a murderous rampage if someone killed my dog.
Yeah.
Fair. That is a fair
not even-
reaction.
Yeah. I'm not even a dog person, but like don't
Oh.
hurt dogs.
Yeah.
Yep.
Are you guys big Star Wars people?
I mean, I have a Baby Yoda tattoo.
Okay.
So maybe.
Okay.
Just a little.
So kind of.
Are you guys Andor fans?
I did like Andor.
I love.
I know you liked Andor.
Andor to me is like the
Holy
pinnacle
grail.
of Star Wars. Like
Yeah.
I can't like season 1 was excruciating in between episodes. Like I could not live
Yeah.
for a week at a time, you know?
I'm not like I'm not gonna sit here and pretend I'm like the most obsessed knowledgeable Star Wars fan there is. Like there's a lot of Star Wars content I've never seen.
Yeah.
Certainly never read like the non-canon books.
Right.
But I do deeply enjoy Star Wars. It has been a part of my life ever since I can remember.
Yeah.
And I'm particularly obsessed with anything related to Mando and Grogu.
There's supposed to be a movie coming out at some point, probably next year, right?
I'm going to Disney World in a month for the first time in 20 years, and I'm so
wow.
excited to meet the two of them.
Oh, that's cool.
Heck yeah.
I'm so excited.
That's awesome.
Aaron, are you a Star Wars fan?
Yeah, I love Star Wars. It's one of those where I have not seen all of The Mandalorian. Let me go ahead and say that. I know you're not gonna be happy about that. But
That's okay.
It's
okay.
It's an opportunity to see something.
That's fair. And I think it's just one of those where I think it's what the same thing with Marvel for me is that if you miss a stint of something, then you're 3 series behind
Yeah.
on it.
Right.
And I think it's one of those where I just need to like actually dedicate the time to like sit down and get sucked in and getting caught up because I've seen Kenobi,
That was good.
started The Mandalorian, and then just kind of like I haven't seen Skeleton Crew or Andor, and so it's something I need to just kind of
Yeah.
dive into so that way I can be because I love Star Wars. Like same with you. Like my grandfather introduced me to Star Wars back when I was like 7, 8 years old, and so it's
Yeah.
just kind of been a huge part since then. And so it's just wanting to just get fully sucked back into it. And I've been wanting to do like another rewatch of the like 9 movies. And I think that will probably get me in the right headspace to be able to do that.
Yeah. I love Star Wars. I do think that there are good Star Wars content creators that are all about like not gatekeeping, but I feel like a lot of Star Wars content creators are about gatekeeping. And
Yeah.
like
oh, I haven't seen Clone Wars, and that's blasphemy.
yeah, well,
I've only seen like select episodes of Clone Wars.
you don't need to. Like do what you want when it comes to Star Wars. I would say Star Wars is less interconnected than Marvel is. I think Marvel is more interconnected.
Like I haven't seen Skeleton Crew either.
By the way, Skeleton Crew is great. Like I'll tell you which series aren't really up to snuff. Like Skeleton Crew is legitimately fun, entertaining. The child actors are good, and if you like pirates, it's just pirate Star Wars. Pirate Star Wars set in the 80s in a aesthetic.
Okay, you've convinced me. I do love pirates.
With kids, right? It's supposed to be like Goonies meets like E.T. meets like it's homage.
I'll be honest, I just knew there was something called Skeleton Crew and it was Star Wars, and I hadn't dove in. I haven't done any further research beyond that.
Yeah. I mean, the premise of Skeleton Crew is there's this like suburbia planet, and it's supposed to look a little off-putting. Like, why is a suburban, like there's like a suburbs planet? Okay, fine. But these 4 suburban kids find a pirate ship that rockets them off into space, and they're like, well, let's just go back home, and then nobody knows where home is. And like nobody knows that their planet exists in the first place. There's like mysteries involved.
Wait, that's so fun.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm assuming Disney Plus.
Yeah.
Okay, I have to relog into Disney. I deleted my Disney Plus account because they keep raising the prices.
Yeah.
And of course, I'm in a weird financial situation now. So I was like, I'm not gonna keep paying for this. But my uncle gave me his login.
Can you share logins for Disney Plus, or do they not let you?
Yeah, you can. No, you can.
Okay.
My uncle gave me his, and I used it when I went to Virginia for Christmas because my grandpa likes watching Marvel stuff with me, and I wanted to show him the Guardians holiday special.
Yeah.
And so I used my uncle's login down there, and it worked just fine. So I just have to log in up here because, like, I haven't watched much TV, so I just keep forgetting that I can use Disney Plus again.
Yeah. I mean,
but no, that sounds fun. Honestly, you know what I really liked that came out this past year, and I'm bummed that it's already been canceled. And I know that there was mixed reactions, but I liked it. I liked The Acolyte.
I like The Acolyte too. To an extent, there were a lot of flaws, but
of course there's flaws.
Why not do a season 2?
Right. I liked that it was
sexy.
As my parent, what?
It was sexy. It was a sexy.
It was. Well, listen,
Star
you
Wars
put Manny Jacinta in something, I'm gonna watch it. Um, but also I liked that, as my parents put it, it was required no homework because it took place before literally anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chronologically exists first, and so it could be watched totally on its own with no prior knowledge of anything else. I mean, it helps to obviously have a base knowledge of Star Wars,
Mhm.
but it's not like, oh, you have to watch 27 projects to know what's going on in the show. You have a basic knowledge of Star Wars, you can watch it. And I liked the characters, I liked the story. I wanted to see where it was going. And I wanted more Manny Jacinta in Star Wars.
Yeah. I'm sure they'll pick it back up for some of the plot threads, but
Maybe.
it sucks.
Yeah. And it had the Squid Games guy.
Oh yeah.
I cannot remember that actor's name.
Yeah. I'm watching Squid Game season 2 right now, but that's a 2024 show. 2024 is long gone.
Yeah. So forever ago.
Yeah. As we're 5 days into January.
Yeah. I gotta watch that though. I gotta watch Squid Games again.
Here's a big one, and I'm wondering whether it's gonna have diminishing returns or not. I mean, the first two didn't. Avatar 3, Fire and Ash, or something like whatever it's called. The new Avatar movie, not Airbender, but the Pandora one.
If it's not Airbender, I'm not watching it.
Avatar Fire and Ash comes out December 19th. The first two movies broke records, which is weird because I thought that nobody watched the second one, but I guess people did.
I didn't watch it.
I
didn't contribute to that.
Thing. I really think it's an international movie, and like
I saw the first one. They did some really cool things, like technology-wise, like it was visually stunning. The plot was the same plot we've seen in 1,000 different things. I like to say it's just Pocahontas with blue people because there really isn't a whole lot of difference plot-wise.
I mean, there's a lot of movies that are like that, though.
No, I know, but like I didn't feel like the story was a groundbreaking story. A lot of movies, obviously, like it's hard to have completely original ideas, but I've seen stories we've had before with like new original takes, and it just didn't feel fresh, but like visually it was beautiful.
Yeah.
I didn't think that the movie needed 5 sequels.
Yeah.
I had zero desire to see the second. I have zero desire to see the first. And I do think it is kind of interesting how the second movie was all like water focused and the next one's going to be fire. And where have we seen those elements before with a title of Avatar?
The first one's technically air. The second one is water. The third one is fire.
So the fourth one will be the Earth Kingdom.
Yeah.
Like if you want to watch Avatar, just watch Avatar. It's better.
I think it's just his passion project, and it's weird to me. But okay, like you do you. I mean, at some
rich people
point,
gotta have hobbies too.
Yeah, his main thing
is
like
submarining. I don't feel the need to contribute to it. I will say, him knowing so much about submarining and the Titanic, and like him being like an expert with the whole Titan thing, I thought that was very funny.
Yeah,
I do love that for him. I don't love Avatar for him.
Yeah. Aaron, you Avatar fan?
I watched the first one. Well, started the first one whenever it like first came out. Like we were doing a double feature. We watched Nicolas Cage's The Knowing, which is
oh yeah,
that's a weird movie.
Wait, which one's The Knowing? Knowing is the one where
I think
the kids are like they have the numbers.
Yeah,
like the kids that keep
it's like the doomsday prophecy thing, and then they end up going on another. Yeah, it was a weird double feature for the night, so I was already just overstimulated from that.
Yeah,
and started Avatar, and
film.
and then started Avatar and was like, okay, I think the blue people look cool. So, I've not been really. I appreciate it for what it is, but I've not been on the Avatar train.
Yeah,
they're just hard to get into for me.
I saw it in theaters right before the hype. Like there was hype right in the beginning, but I think I saw it like opening night in IMAX 3D, and it was like the most amazing experience as far as like the visuals are concerned. It was like the first 3D movie that was like it needed to be 3D. Like
I would have gotten a headache from that.
It was amazing.
I can't do 3D and I can't do IMAX 3D IMAX might have made my brain actually implode.
You were. It didn't hurt though. Like I don't know. So like 3D when they're made in.
I
like,
get very
3D
overstimulated.
Yeah, I mean that's fair. I get it.
No, the three, it's like my brain like can't comprehend 3D movies.
Okay.
Like I've tried seeing movies in 3D before, and it's like it's like I can't comprehend it visually, and it just hurts.
That's some 3D movies. Like so movies that are shot in 3D look better. Movies that are done in 3D in post-production are worse because in post-production they'll take a regular 2D image and they'll cut the person out and they'll make like a diorama. They'll make like they'll cut the layers and then move them forward, right? And you're like approximating 3D. This isn't the case. This is like full 3D cameras.
Yeah.
So
still
it is what
but then
it is.
IMAX also, like I can do like my local aquarium, which they don't have this anymore. They used to have an IMAX theater, and it was like one of the few IMAX theaters in the state. And you'd go to the aquarium and you'd go see like a 20-minute nature film at the aquarium. Loved that. But anything longer than that, once again, I get a headache. It's just visually too much happening.
Yeah.
Like I need a smaller screen.
Yeah. We'll see. I mean, we have the whole year to figure out whether we're hyped for it or not.
I know right now I'm not.
I'm gonna see it. But also, I don't know. Whatever. Avatar is. I mean, they're just gonna keep making Avatar movies, I guess.
I'll give it a shot. I'll watch. You know what? Maybe I just need to watch another Nicolas Cage movie before watching the sequels and just make it
But
like
watch a good one.
Yeah.
Or watch a bad one. There's a movie that I always mix up knowing with. It's called Next. Is it called Next? I think.
Oh, I know the one you're talking about.
Where he could see a little bit into the future, so he could like choose what path to go.
Right, but it's like it's just a short while into the future.
Yeah, but I don't want to spoil the ending.
I don't know. I didn't hate that movie. I wouldn't say it's bad.
I didn't know, but the ending is going to be. I don't want to spoil it. All I know is
I'm trying to remember the ending.
We're not going to spoil it for Aaron. But
I won't spoil it. I can't even remember the ending. That means I have to rewatch it.
And it's called Next.
I think it's called Next, right?
Okay,
Next,
we love a point and click adventure. Cool.
Yeah, not to be confused with the MTV dating reality show called Next, where you get off the bus and like sometimes you get nexted right away. Does anyone know what I'm talking about? Does anyone
the bus?
You've never watched the MTV dating show Next?
I've never heard of it.
Okay. It was the wildest show because and it was my biggest fear because I'll tell you why. So why are we talking about this
fear of dating
coming in 2025? We're talking about like 2005, if anything. Okay, so
listen,
Next,
2005 was great.
20 years ago.
Great year.
There's the Next bus. So it'd be like a girl who'd be the bachelorette, right? Essentially. Like it's up to her to see if she wants to go on a date with any of these guys. But she can at any point in the date, she can say next, and the guy is canceled and has to go back to the bus, and his date's over, right?
Oh.
So normally there'll be like things planned, like they'll go for a picnic or they'll go surfing, and like the guy will like fall off the board, and she'll be like next, and then she'll be like, you can't even surf, and then the guy would have some like quippy comeback, like I can't surf, but I can rock your boat. And like
I can't tie my shoes, but I can.
It'll be some dumb
fill
thing.
in the blank on the line. Sorry.
Oh
but sometimes a guy will walk straight off the bus. He'll be like, hi, and she'll be like, next.
Oh, so it's like that one YouTube dating show with the button. Have you seen that?
Yeah, kind
I've
of.
seen the
yeah.
button. There's also like the balloons. Have you seen the balloons?
Yeah, those are rough.
Oh, that's brutal.
So Next was the Next bus. So my biggest fear, even though I was never on the show, my biggest fear was to be the person walking off the bus, be like, hi, I'm Dimithri, and then next. Ah!
No, that would suck.
Yeah. So, but in the Next bus, all the guys who have been nexted and the guys who are upcoming get to hang out and talk about the dates that are going on at that time. It's just the wildest show. But that's Next.
I mean, I don't watch The Bachelor or Bachelorette anymore, but one of the best parts of that show was seeing like the bonding and the frenemies.
Yes.
Like I didn't care so much about the romance, so much about like what's actually happening amongst everybody else.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like who's the bad boy? Like where's he at?
Right. Like, okay, who's the bitch this season?
Yeah. Well, that's next, and it's not related to the Nicolas Cage movie.
No.
Damn, I was looking forward to that bus. Okay.
Yeah, sorry.
I guess I'll watch it.
I thought next was fun.
It was fun. It was
He's
fun.
got, listen, Nicolas Cage has a lot of hits and a lot of misses.
Yeah.
And
I
no
just
in
watched
between.
The Family Man.
No in between.
I watched The Family Man for the first time.
Which one's that?
That's the one where he's like a single guy. He's rich, but then he's like,
Yeah.
Don Cheadle is like, oh, you think everything's
Oh.
perfect? Well, why don't you live the life that you could have had? And like, suddenly
No.
the next day he wakes up, he's married, he has kids. He's married to his ex-girlfriend that he like broke up with years ago. And they have
Mhm.
kids and they have a whole family. And he's very confused.
Wait, I want to watch that.
It's
Here's the
very
thing,
good.
I love Nicolas Cage. I actually find him very strangely attractive, and I know I'm alone on that. People always are so, I can't explain. I think honestly 90% of it is National Treasure, which is top tier movies.
Okay.
But I like him. I like his, well, I think he's cute, but I also like his acting.
Okay. All right.
I like his movies.
Well,
You'll love this movie then. Like it's
Okay,
very
Family Man. I'm gonna add that to my list. I honestly, one of my favorites from him was that one he did with Pedro Pascal where he played himself.
the insane weight of
The
unbearable
incredible
talent, something like that.
Something like that. It
Yeah.
had a weird long name. And that movie was so funny.
Unbearable weight of massive talent, something like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Unbearable
okay.
Weight of Massive Talent.
Yeah.
That was a good movie.
It's where that
Well,
meme is from, right? Where he's like
Right.
looking like disgustingly over and he's
And he's like, yeah. And Pedro
Um,
Pascal was fantastic in that.
Yeah. Well, you got Spider-Man Noir this year, so
Good. I will
There
be
you go.
sad.
there we go.
Disney's slate that is not Marvel or Star Wars or anything is, I'm just gonna read these out. What is that short for? What did I wrote an acronym, but I gotta figure out what it meant. Snow White. Then there's
Pass.
I wrote L and S. What's L and S?
Lilo and Stitch.
Lilo and Stitch. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay. Live action. Then there's Elio, which is the Disney Pixar, I think. Disney Pixar
Yeah.
movie. There's Freakier Friday.
yes.
Yeah.
Then there's
That's
Tron Ares.
Mm,
And then there's
Okay.
Zootopia 2.
okay.
Zootopia.
Zootopia? Zootopia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tutopia.
Yeah.
I think Zootopia. That's funny.
Right. It goes chalk that down with your
Zootopia.
Fantastic Four reference earlier.
Yeah.
Whatever that was. I can't remember it now.
Tutopia 2. We just overload the twos.
The two,
Cool.
two.
Or the
Zootopia.
Z, the Z
Zootopia.
is a 2. It's like 2
Oh.
0 0 like 200 TWOPIA. Two.
Pass. I'm
Okay. Any of those really stand out, by the way? Any of these Disney movies?
Wait, repeat the list.
I mean, Snow. Okay, let's go in order. I mean, well,
Yeah.
not in order of release, but order in which I wrote it. Snow White. Are we not looking forward
No.
to it? I'm not a big fan of the cartoon.
So just I got a lot of problems with that movie, and I don't want to get too much into it, but one, I'm tired of the Disney remakes. Like I'm exhausted. I think some of them have worked. The Little Mermaid specifically, they
Mhm.
actually did something really original and expanded upon the story we really already know, and that was wonderful.
Yeah.
Most of them have just felt unnecessary. Looking at the trailer, they've made a lot of choices I'm already unhappy with. Number one being the dwarves.
Yeah.
Like, I don't. They didn't want to offend little people by making little people dwarves, but then they've also upset little people for not casting dwarves. I mean, for not casting little people as the dwarves, and then also they've just made them CGI.
Right.
I think
Yeah.
there's like they had stand-ins on set, one of whom was a little person, but everyone else was an average height person, and then they just replaced him with CGI. Why?
Yeah.
That's first of all, these are supposed to be live action. And I know CGI happens in live action, but it's like if you're making a chunk of the character CGI, what's even the point?
Right.
Yeah, the whole thing just feels unnecessary. And
Like
it
two
has,
steps forward and three steps
yeah,
back, sort of. Yeah.
right. And my reservations about this have absolutely nothing to do with Rachel Zegler. I think, because I know she had those comments that pissed a lot of people off. I didn't care this way or that. Um, I think, I think casting her, I actually was kind of looking forward to her in this role, but
Hmm.
I hate what they did with her hair. She's a beautiful girl. Why did they give her that haircut? I don't care if that's what she had in the movie. That's a
Yeah.
bad haircut on her.
If we're gonna go
She's,
Bob, give some layers or something. Like,
yeah, like she's so, honestly, like it's not even the fact that it's a bob, it's the length of a bob.
true. Like a
It's
good
like if they
an
had
ear
just
length
had like,
Bob.
right, like if they had just done like a normal chin length or like somewhere between the chin and the shoulders.
Yeah.
Like she's so beautiful. Why did you put that haircut on her? She's like, you're not helping the plot of the movie with that haircut. Um,
I don't
I'm
like Snow White just in general anyway. Not a big
I
fan.
don't have a
Not a
strong
big fan
opinion
of
on
her
it.
haircut regardless. Like Snow White, like as a design, one
Oh, I
of,
think
if
the
not the
original
first
design.
Disney movie, right? But like,
Yeah.
eh.
I mean, I think the original design, the character is cute. I think, she's definitely iconic. I know a lot of people like to look at especially specifically the original Disney princesses through kind of a negative, like they're not feminist lens. I have a different perspective, partially because of a paper I actually wrote on the topic in college. Um, Obviously, if you look at them through a modern lens, they're not great. But if you look at them through the lenses of their time, those characters were actually very inspirational for women at the time, which helped me have a better view of like Cinderella, Snow White, and Sleeping Beauty.
Mhm.
But I think if there's been so many Snow White remakes by other companies, some of which were even made by Disney,
Yeah.
I didn't think rehashing their already existing animated movie was necessary. But Disney's gonna do it anyway because that's the path they're on right now,
Yeah.
and it's just annoying.
Yeah.
And I'll say the same thing about Lilo and Stitch.
Oh, because I was gonna segue. You do feel that way about Lilo and Stitch?
Yeah,
I
I don't think it's necessary.
okay, look, here's the thing. We don't think it's necessary because we watch the animated movie. And we can hope that kids watch the animated movies, right? But as we know from all these productions and whatever, getting characters back in the zeitgeist is a thing. Like they've been making so much Lilo and Stitch merchandise.
Right.
Could kids have watched the movie previously and like instead of this movie coming out and like just they still make the merchandise? Yes, but no, right? Like
Yeah.
kids could have watched the old X-Men cartoon from the 90s, but they didn't. And X-Men dropped out of the cultural zeitgeist for about 10 to 15 years. Like
Yeah.
X-Men was lost and Marvel didn't want to push merchandise for a product they didn't own the movie rights to. So kids don't know Gambit, they don't know Rogue, they don't know any of these people until X-Men 97 came out
Right.
and reinvigorated the franchise. Like you constantly have to be pushing these characters out.
Yes. Yes. But do it with some heart and soul.
I think Lilo and
And
Stitch will have heart and soul. I think that.
maybe, maybe. I don't know. I'm skeptical. Like I said, Cinderella they did with heart and soul. That movie, I don't know how successful the movie itself actually was in terms of like finances, but as far as like an adaptation, I thought it was very successful with what they set out to do
Yeah.
without just feeling like, oh, they're just taking the same plot and making it live action. Like they took the same plot, but then expanded it in a way that felt like it actually contributed to the story. Whereas a lot of the others just feel like, okay, we're rehashing the story and maybe adding in some extra stuff just for the sake of it. Like Lion King,
Yeah.
that movie
Ugh.
frustrated me.
Um, Jungle Book I thought was really good as a live action movie. I
I
really
actually didn't
like.
see that one.
I really like Jungle Book, and I think that Aladdin is underrated
Aladdin was okay.
Aladdin, I'm a big fan of the cartoon Aladdin.
Yeah.
But as long as you can accept that Robin Williams is gone, Will Smith is playing the genie to Will Smith's area of
Yeah.
I
actually did like that about that movie. I thought he did a really nice job of making it his own, but playing homage.
Yeah.
He found a really good balance there.
Yeah. But I think Lilo and Stitch will be good. I have hope for that.
I wasn't a huge I like Lilo and Stitch, but it wasn't like super on my radar when I was a kid and it like first came out. So I don't have I think I'm less likely to be excited about it anyway. Like I like Lilo and Stitch, but I don't think I actually sat down and watched the full movie until I was an adult.
Yeah. That's fair.
So it's not one I grew up with, although I do remember like the animated TV show on Disney Channel.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was just about to say that was so the movie was sort of secondary to me for the series, because the series I felt was more interesting because it incorporated those different experiments, like with the little balls that would go into the water.
Right.
And so
oh, sorry.
No, it's fine. I don't know. I think that just made it more interesting and added sort of like that adventure to it. So I almost would have, if you're going to reintroduce Lilo and Stitch to a new generation, while I think that the live action I think that's going to be a hit out of the misses that live actions usually get. But I think potentially rebooting the animated series, kind of going the other end of whether it be remake or reboot, would almost bring more people back in and allow this new generation of kids to kind of go back and watch that other animated series that came out.
Yeah.
I would agree with that.
I want Disney to not only do these remakes of live action, but tell more of the story in their live action. So like Cailin brought up Little Mermaid and whatnot. But I also want them to realize that it doesn't end with their one remake. Make essentially an alternate timeline, like sequels to those. Like I thought Aladdin could have had a live action sequel. Live action Aladdin could have had a live action sequel that wasn't Return of Jafar, that wasn't whatever. You could have borrowed from the cartoon, like the animated series, whatever, and like just had a new series of Aladdin movies. Like Lilo and Stitch could do the same thing, a new series of live action Lilo and Stitch movies.
Or I would have preferred, if they're going to do these live action takes on their classic animated movies, do more stuff like they did with Maleficent. Because technically Maleficent falls into their category of these live action remakes, but they like wickified it.
Right.
And I would love more stories like that, like these stories that we already know. Yes, Cruella, or like I said, like Wicked is essentially, it's like a new telling from the perspective of the Wicked Witch. Like I would love more stories like that from Disney. Like, I mean, I didn't see it, but they kind of just did that with the new Mufasa movie. I don't really feel drawn to see it. I would probably have seen it had they done it in the style of the original 94 movie. Because I think like, okay, the backstory of Mufasa and Mufasa and Scar.
Yeah.
That's an interesting story. I would love to see that story. I would have preferred it if they did it in the original style, though, not the weird live action CGI.
Yeah. I liked the movie, but I don't need to see it again. Mufasa. It was fine. It was fine. I'm not getting hung up about it. It was what it was.
Yeah.
But
at least they did a new story.
Yeah. Right.
And they need to do more of that.
Right.
Because there's a whole like family tree when it comes to like the monarchy of the lions and everything like that.
And there was
there's a whole legacy with it.
There was like that animated show. Yes.
They change it up. The way I see it is the animated Lion King stuff is its own thing, and the live action one is its own thing. Because the cartoon one has Lion King 2, Lion King 1.5, the Timon and Pumbaa show,
and good.
The Lion Guard.
Yes.
And those are the canon. That's that. And then this one just has live action Lion King live action Mufasa, quote unquote live action.
The fact that The Lion King, like 2019 live action CGI is the highest grossing animated film of all time makes me so upset. Because it's like, yes, it's animated, but it
Well, did Inside Out beat it? I think Inside Out 2 beat it.
did it. That
Yeah.
would make me happy. Like, I'm not even a huge Frozen person, but the fact that the Lion King movie beat out Frozen for highest grossing animated film made me really upset. And I know it's stupid to
Inside
care,
Out
but I
2
did.
just beat Lion King for
That's
highest grossing.
That's interesting to me because I saw Inside Out too. I saw it once it went on Disney Plus. And I thought it was really cute, but I didn't hear people talking about it the way I've heard people talk about Frozen. So I'm surprised that it grossed that high.
Yeah. I mean, Frozen 2 is number 3.
Yeah, that
And
doesn't shock me.
Animated movie of all time. And then, so like the top 5, just throwing it out there: Inside Out 2, Lion King from 2019, Frozen 2, Super Mario Brothers movie, and Frozen. Those are the
See,
top 5.
the number, I mean, I know a lot of people talked about Lion King, and then the next 3 below Lion King, those are movies I heard a lot of people talk about. So, but I
Yeah.
didn't really hear people talk about Inside Out 2 in that way. So I'm just a little surprised. Not that I'm mad about it. It was a cute movie.
Yeah. Yeah. Before we run out of time, out of the Disney things that I had mentioned, the only one that's original, not a sequel, not a whatever, is Elio. I don't know if you guys have seen the trailer for it, but I think it looks cute.
I haven't.
A kid gets abducted by aliens, and he says he's the king of Earth, and like,
Oh, I
he
think
is
I
the
did
leader of
hear
Earth.
about
Yeah.
this.
And it's just
That
like this
sounds cute.
alien adventure kind of magical journey.
That sounds cute.
Yeah.
Is
Yeah.
that Pixar?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I am excited about Freakier Friday.
Are you? Because Manny
Yes.
Jacinto's in it?
Yes.
Okay.
But also, honestly, I was excited about it before I found out that he was going to be in it. But
Yeah.
then I found out that he would play the main love interest, and I got more excited.
Yeah. I don't care about it.
That's
I
Wow.
don't care. I mean, I
love Freaky Friday. It's a classic.
It's awesome.
Yeah, it was great. I don't think we need Freakier Friday. Just like we don't need a new Parent Trap. We can get that one from Lindsay Lohan.
Yes. I
Okay.
would love that movie with them grown up.
Okay.
I agree.
I don't mind sequels. It's the remakes.
I like sequels a lot. I just think there are certain sequels that don't need to exist.
I don't know. I think it's kind of fun to be like, oh, like I wonder what's going on with those characters now that all this time has passed. Like I like Lizzie McGuire. I was really excited for the Lizzie McGuire like reboot show that
Mhm.
ultimately never came to be. I thought that would have been a fun story to tell, like after all this time. Because I watched Lizzie McGuire was like one of the earliest shows I remember watching. I think it was the first show I ever watched on Disney Channel. I was like 6 or 7 when that show first came out.
Yeah.
And like it was one of the most relatable shows. And so when they first announced Disney Plus and that it was gonna be this Lizzie McGuire show, I was so hyped because I was just entering adulthood when that show was starting production. And Lizzie was gonna be like in her 30s and being an adult. And I was so excited for Lizzie to teach me more life lessons on being an adult because she taught me so many life lessons about being a kid, being in middle school.
Yeah.
And I mean, I kind of got it in the form of the How I Met Your Father show, which is what I like to pretend the
It
Lizzie
kind of
McGuire show
is.
would have been.
Yeah.
And I'm bummed that that got canceled. But yeah, I like those, like, okay, where are these characters now stories?
Yeah.
Yeah, like iCarly, whenever that got
Right.
rebooted.
The way that it ended on the biggest cliffhanger of all time.
Yeah. Supposedly there's a movie coming out about it to kind of
Okay,
wrap it up, like an hour-long special.
thank God. Good,
Supposedly.
because I hope they are, because that cliffhanger was such a brutal way to end that
Yeah.
show. They clearly had every intention of like following up on that. But that was once again, yeah, that was great to like see this character functioning in adulthood.
Really quick before we get going, Are there any TV shows that you guys are looking forward to? I know this was movie heavy. I'm looking forward to the new season of Invincible.
Mm.
I'm looking forward to Andor season 2, which is the final, season. But I don't know if you guys are big TV people, but
I'm most excited for Daredevil.
yeah.
I am a huge sucker for my boy Maddie. Um, Not typically in the genre of types of TV shows that we talk about, but one of my favorite shows is 911, so I'm just always looking forward to more seasons of that.
Yeah.
And I hear they're making a new 911 spin-off. I know that 911 Lone Star is about to end this year. But I hear they're making another spin-off of that, and I don't remember where it's going to take place, but I love that chaotic first responder energy. I'm trying to think what else is coming out. I mean, Percy Jackson. That's going to
Percy
be
Jackson,
apparently
yeah.
coming out this year. I
Last
fell
of
off on a
Us.
lot of shows. Last of Us, yes. If that's
Last of
coming
Us
out this
comes
year, I'm
out.
very excited.
Yeah. Stranger Things finally comes out.
I feel like it's been so long, I've lost interest.
I kind of am the same way. They need, like, this is
Um,
the final season, I think. So
yeah, no, it is the final season. I'll probably watch it because it's the final season, but
um Wednesday. Is anyone a big fan of Wednesday? Wednesday comes
oh,
out.
I liked Wednesday. I'm a bigger fan of my cat Wednesday, but I did like the show.
Does your cat
there,
do the little dance as well?
No, she
Oh,
just sits there.
dang.
there's an alien show coming out to Hulu called Alien Earth. If you guys are fans of the Alien franchise.
Nope.
Okay.
I have a bunch
No.
of shows I also just need to like get back to.
Yeah.
Like
Fair.
I never finished the new season of Vox Machina. I started watching season 2 of Invincible and I didn't like it as much. I don't know if I'm going to continue.
Wait, how far did you get?
I think I got halfway through the season.
Okay.
They had
I'm ride or die for Invincible. So.
I loved the first season. The first season was amazing. I was so excited for the second, and then I couldn't get into it. But I really like Vox Machina, and I got to finish season 3. And I think there's going to be a new season this year. I could be wrong about that.
New season
But
of
I haven't heard of Vox Machina.
I don't know. I'm not in. I haven't
show.
watched it. There's an It TV show coming out. It's an It prequel.
Oh yeah.
That sounds like something I would not like.
There's a comedy coming out with Seth Rogen. It's called The Studio, and it's about Seth Rogen being a studio executive, running a movie or TV studio, and it's like a comedy.
I think they just came out with a trailer or teaser for that today, did they not?
I don't know.
I think I saw it like right before we came on.
Okay. Yellow Jackets is back. White Lotus is back. Handmaid's Tale is back. The Bear is back. Black Mirror is back. Euphoria is supposed to be back. Poker Face and You.
Oh, You. I'm looking forward to that. I think it's supposed to be the final season.
I mean, yeah, after 5 seasons of You, it's got to be Us at some point.
I've only, well, at some point.
At least I heard it's a prequel to This Is Us.
Yeah,
Now
no,
the
I'm
Jordan
looking forward to
Peele.
the final season of You. I gotta read the rest of the books. I think I've read the first 2 books. I have the third. I think there's a 4th.
Of what?
Of You.
I didn't know You was a book.
Oh, it's based on a book. Yeah, so I watched You back when it was before it blew up on Netflix. It was originally a Lifetime series. And I saw the ad for it on like Facebook and thought it looked interesting and found out it was based on a book. So I read the book before I watched the first season. And then I've read the second book, which the second season is loosely based on the second book because they make a huge change to the end of the first season that changes how the second season goes.
Mm.
I have no idea how season 3 and the book and book 3 compare, just because the direction they take in the show of season 2 is so different that the way those seasons end are very different than the book. But I read the first 2 books and I really enjoyed them.
Okay.
And they're told first person from Joe's perspective. I know the show has a lot of like inner monologuing, but the entire book being in his perspective makes it like that much more disturbing. Because you spend the entire story just stuck in his really fucked up head.
Okay. So I'm gonna write that down on a list of book I'm not gonna read.
You should read it. It was really good.
Okay, maybe, probably not, but
It was good.
I gotta read that ice skater hockey player romance novel.
Icebreaker. Icebreaker was I liked it. I liked the first and the third more. The second one was okay, but
It's a series?
the first one, they're standalone, interconnected.
What is this? The MCU?
Like you could read each book individually, but like the guys in the second 2 books are introduced in the first.
Okay.
That's
how
very
they
common
get
in
you.
romance, these like interconnected standalones. I've read a lot of those.
Okay.
That's how they get you right in the middle of target. That's
They do.
you open up one.
You pick up one. I read an interconnected cowboy romance series. That was great.
Okay.
Canadian cowboys.
After all that, after everything that we talked about, I don't know if you guys have any like final thoughts about 2025. I'm super excited. I've obviously talked about everything I'm excited for, and I'm probably gonna watch things that I'm not excited for, just so I have an opinion about it. But I'm not really gonna be doing much picking and choosing. I'm gonna do what I can, watch everything I can. But I don't know if you guys have any like final thoughts about 2025 and whatnot.
I think it's a promising year. I mean, whether it be remakes or whether it be original stories, there is just a lot slated. And I think that I think there's going to be more good than bad. And I think, 2023 was a huge year for media, a huge year for movies and all that. And then 2024 being, as dry as it was, kind of getting back into the swing of things to 2025. I think that we're going to be well fed. Regardless, there's something for everybody coming out.
Yeah.
With that said, there's also something for everybody to complain about coming out. And I think it's one of them where uh, if we can remain hopeful and just stay away from Twitter, Blue Sky, wherever it is that you get your
Yeah.
indulgence in now, I think that we can just enjoy more things. And if we don't like it, just don't watch it,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're right. There is something for everybody. So let's focus on things we like.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like we can critique things. I mean, that's the whole part of like why we have shows like this and like why we talk about things. Like it's
Right.
good to critique things, but just to there's going to be that wave of people once Superman comes out that are whether it be just very big Snyder fans or just people who
Yep.
don't like new tellings or just have a overcomplicated opinion about a superhero. It's going to get rushed by a lot of those things. But I think if people can just look at things objectively and just look at things from an actual critiquing standpoint, then we can kind of pinpoint on what is going to be good and what is not going to be as up to par.
Yeah. I also want to say that if people are complaining about remakes and sequels and non-original things, go support original things. There's 18 A24 movies. If any of those like look cool, go watch those. Elio is the only original thing that's coming out from Disney. If you want focus put on certain Marvel properties, go support those Marvel properties. Like, show your support that way. I think it's, do what you can.
Put your money where your mouth is.
Yeah. Or your time. When it comes to streaming platforms, it's more about time, right?
Your time. Yeah. Your time.
Put your
time.
time where your mouth is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cailin, do you have any final thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, as you said, like it was a bit of a dry year, I feel like, for film and TV. It also didn't help that I just wasn't paying attention to film and TV. But yeah, there are definitely some projects this year that have captured my attention and I do want to see between both film and TV. And I've got a lot of books that are coming out this year that I'm very excited about.
That's good. All right. I also want to shout out Marvel Rivals because it's been taking up a lot of my time and I've been digging it so much. It's really weird how into it I am, but I am, and I'm excited for that game throughout this year and seeing what pops up and what new characters they're adding because like it's so fun. It's such a fun game.
Yeah.
But we'll see. Other than that, thank you guys so much for coming on this show, talking about everything that's coming out in 2025. Before we get going though, Aaron, where can we find you? What do you got coming up? Anything you want to plug?
Yeah, you can find me on the different usernames are messing me up again.
Yeah.
TikTok, Aaron Gaines, Instagram, Aaron K Gaines. Don't get those switched. You will not find me. Or you'll find some guy that posted about a sandwich in 2012. Uh, as far as what's coming up, I at least want to hit up like at least 3 to 5 conventions this year. Definitely will be at Ranger Stop down in Atlanta. Huntsville Comic Con will be down there for that. Um, I just got cast in my first indie film myself that is filming in
Oh,
Nashville. But we can talk separately about that because I don't know what I can say about it. It's not like
That's fair.
yes, but there's still contracts nonetheless. But uh, yeah, that's coming up. So yeah, 2025, just not only watching, I'm really trying to delve into more of an acting standpoint, just getting out there. So that is what the year is looking like for me so far.
Awesome. Awesome. I'm looking forward to what's coming up for you. So good stuff.
Thank you.
yeah.
Cailin, same questions. Where can we find you? What do you got coming up? Anything you want to plug?
You can find me at both Instagram and maybe TikTok. Who knows what's going on there? Um, Comics by Cailin. This past year was a bit of a slow year for me cosplay wise, but I'm definitely planning to get back into it a little bit. I've got some book cosplays coming up. I'm actually planning to shoot some content this coming week for a character from one of my favorite books that I read this year. Um, and then just to kind of con wise, I don't know what my situation is going to be. I last year was my heaviest con year. I did 4 cons, and I was even a con guest. This year, I don't know what it's going to be because I'm planning a move. I'm planning a career change, so I haven't really planned any specific cons based on that situation.
Okay.
And trying to save money in terms of conventions
That's
so
fair.
that I can move.
For
But yeah,
me,
it's gonna be a big year.
yeah, yeah. If it's not the media we consume, there's also cons, and hopefully
Yeah.
you get to make it out to some this year.
Yeah.
You know.
Even if I just go to like a couple of local ones in the area that I'm moving to, there are some cons in that area. But yeah, the other big thing is I turned 30 this year, and that's not at all terrifying.
I don't I don't know what that's like. I still got a couple more years till I turn 30, so
Yeah, no, I
um,
know. I'm so old.
yeah. Oh, you're so old. Um uh as far as cons that I'm going to, I mean, if anyone wants to follow me individually, you can follow me at This Is Dimitri. Or if you want to follow the Keeg, you can follow us on any social media. TikTok and Instagram are two biggest ones at the Keeg Show. But it's pretty much at the Keeg Show anywhere on social media. If you want to know what cons I'm going to, I'm definitely going to go to San Diego Comic Con, WonderCon, which is in Anaheim, and then LA Comic Con, because those are just like in my area. But I'm also planning on going to C2E2. I've gone for the last 2 years, and that's Chicago's Comic Con, and
Yeah.
that's been pretty fun. A lot of cool people go there, and so C2E2 is probably still on my list. Will I go to? I don't know. I don't know anything else that I'm gonna go to. I'm not sure, but we'll see. We'll see what 2025 brings. Other than that, yeah, follow the Keeg at the Keeg Show everywhere on social media. Support your local public libraries. For anyone out there who is not already doing that, support your local public libraries. You can find anything you want there, and they're definitely a asset to your community. If you want to find comics near you, go to comicshoplocator.com, find a comic shop near you. If you're watching us live, you're watching us on twitch.tv/The Keeg Show or youtube.com/The Keeg Show. But if you're listening to the podcast, you can get us, wherever you get your podcasts from: Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Audible, Amazon Music, and SoundCloud. Those are our biggest ones. However you're digesting us, whether you're watching us live or listening to the podcast, like, comment, subscribe, follow, write a review, do your thing. Let us know you're out there. Let us know you're listening, because it definitely helps. And we're going to be doing more shows in 2025. So it's nice to know everybody is out there listening. That's pretty much it. Thank you yet again, Aaron, Cailin, for coming on and talking about everything. Once again, I am your host, Dimithri Perera, and this has been the Keeg Talks, everything coming out in 2025. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.
Super strong or super fast. Gotta beat the boss and get the loot, 'cause it's the king.